Hello, I'm Miranda. Welcome to my second Warmachine battle report. I play Khador. Today we will have a 20-point battle against the Protectorate of Menoth. Menoth is being represented by pSeverius. His battle group includes a Repenter light warjack, a Revenger light warjack, and a Vanquisher heavy warjack. He also brought a Temple Flame Guard unit with the unit attachment, and a Paladin of the Order of the Wall. pSorscha has a single Destroyer warjack in her battle group. She also has a unit of Widowmakers, a unit of Winter Guard with the unit attachment, and Kovnik Joseph Grigorovich, additionally a Manhunter and a Widowmaker Marksman solo. My opponent won the dice roll and decided to go first. pSeverius is standing in the middle of his deployment zone, surrounded by his battle group. The Paladin of the Wall is just off to his right, and the Temple Flame Guard are off to his left. pSorscha is starting off behind her Winter Guard and Kovnik Joe, with her Destroyer off to her right. For my advanced deployment, I have my Widowmakers positioned in cover near the center, and I have my Manhunter hiding behind one of the buildings. Menoth turn 1. In the control phase, pSeverius allocates 1 point of focus each to the Repenter, the Revenger, and the Vanquisher. The Paladin of the Wall moves forward 6 inches and forgoes his action to gain Stone and Mortar stance, giving him a +5 armor. Next, Vanquisher Heavy uses a point of focus to run a full distance of 8 inches. Then the Revenger uses a point of focus to run up beside the Vanquisher, and the Repenter uses a point of focus to catch up with the other 2. pSeverius uses 2 points of focus to cast Defender's Ward on the Temple Flame Guard, giving the unit a +2 to their defense and armor. Then he spends his last 3 focus to cast Eye of Menoth on himself, giving everyone in his control area +1 to attack and damage rolls. After that, he moves up a full 5 inches. Next, the Temple Flame Guard officer uses his mini-feat called Iron Zeal, and then issues a run order. Now, Iron Zeal gives the whole unit +4 armor for 1 round, so with Iron Zeal and Defender's Ward on them, this unit has a 15 defense and 19 armor. Khador, turn 1. In the control phase, pSorscha allocates 3 focus to the Destroyer warjack and keeps the other 3 for herself. The Destroyer activates and moves up a full 4 inches and fires its Bombard cannon at the Temple Flame Guard. The target is just inside his 14-inch range. Since the Destroyer only has a ranged attack of 4, I use a point of focus to boost the attack against their current defense 15. I need an 11 to hit, which I do, so the Flame Guard take a direct hit from a 3-inch power 14 template. The first guy has an armor 19, so I roll dice -5 and fail miserably. The next guy, I boost damage for dice -12 on 3 dice because it's half power. No damage. I boost against the 3rd target and I'm not able to hurt him either. So I'm out of boosts, and at dice -12 I can't actually hurt anything on 2 dice. Next, the Widowmakers are going to shoot at the Flame Guard. The first one takes a shot, and he is within the 14-inch range. None of the Widowmakers have moved, so they all get a +2 aiming bonus, making them all ranged attack 9. I need a 6 to hit, and I do. I take the auto point of damage and kill him outright. The next one shoots. He also hits and does the auto point of damage. Then the unit leader shoots, and she manages to miss. So the last guy in the unit shoots, and he hits, killing another Flame Guard. Now the Widowmakers that manage to kill their targets get to move 2 inches. The Widowmaker solo gives them this ability called Swift Hunter. Normally you do this after each kill, but it didn't really matter in this instance, so I just waited until they were done shooting. The Widowmaker marksman takes a shot at one of the remaining Flame Guard. He only needs a 5 to hit, and he does. So the Flame Guard takes another auto point of damage, and the unit has to take a command check. They have a leadership of 9, and they're okay. Next, the Winter Guard issue a bob and weave order and move up 6 inches. I try to keep them spread out a bit to avoid template damage. Then, Kovnik Joe moves up and tells a story about how courageous everyone's forefathers were. The Winter Guard all feel a lot tougher after that. pSorscha moves up behind them and uses 3 focus to cast Fog of War, giving everyone in her control range concealment. And finally, the Manhunter runs her full 12 inches around behind the buildings. Menoth, turn 2. In the control phase, pSeverius spends 1 focus to upkeep Eye of Menoth and 1 point of focus to upkeep Defender's Ward. Then he allocates 1 point of focus to the Vanquisher and 1 point of focus to the Revenger Light Jack. Next, the Paladin moves 6 inches around the building to try and intercept my Manhunter. He forfeits his action to gain Stone and Mortar stance again. The Vanquisher activates and moves his full 4 inches forward. He fires his Flame Belcher at my Winter Guard, but with a range of 10 inches it falls short by ½ an inch. It is a template, however, and only scatters 1 inch in direction 5. It hits 2 of my Winter Guard, and at 7 damage he's rolling dice -6. The first roll boxes a Winter Guard, and I fail the tough roll, so he dies. The next Winter Guard is boxed also, but he makes his tough roll and is only knocked down. The Revenger spends his point of focus to run up into position. Next, the Repenter walks up 5 inches and attempts to hit the Widowmakers with his Flamethrower. It is an 8-inch spray and does not connect. Now pSeverius activates and moves up 5 inches. He spends 4 focus and casts Ashes to Ashes through his Arc Node at the Winter Guard who was knocked down. He is in range, and pSeverius hits him with anything but Snake Eyes, since a knockdown model only has a defense of 5. He almost misses, but my Winter Guard is hit with a power 10 fire damage. Now he rolls to see how many additional targets are hit. Against Winter Guard, it's dice -3. He damages the first guy, but I make the tough roll. The next closest model is a Widowmaker, and he's toast. The next Winter Guard is hurt, but he's tough. My Standard Bearer is hurt, but he's also tough. The next Winter Guard is tough as well. So it looks like Courage of the Forefathers managed to save the better part of my Winter Guard. Who would have guessed an inspirational speech would do so much? Now the Temple Flame Guard make a desperate attempt to close distance and make it into combat, so they issue a run order again. But even after 12 inches of movement and 2 inches of reach, they still fall short, thanks largely to my Swift Hunter ability on my Widowmakers. Khador, turn 2. pSorscha starts her turn by letting Fog of War fall off, because her army will be shooting at enemy models inside her control range. She allocates 2 focus to the Destroyer and keeps the rest for herself. The Widowmakers are going to concentrate on the Flame Guard again. They have not moved this turn, so they will still have a ranged attack 9. The first guy needs a 6 to hit. He hits and the auto damage removes another Flame Guard. Next, the leader shoots and misses again. The last Widowmaker shoots and hits, another Flame Guard is removed, leaving only the officer and the unarmed Standard. The Widowmaker marksman takes his shot at the officer, needing a 5 to hit. He hits, but instead of taking the auto damage, he's going to roll to see if he can take all 5 of the officer's hit points. If I can roll an 8 or higher, I will kill him, but I only do 3 points. The Destroyer activates and fires his Bombard at the Revenger. He is within range. I use a point of focus to boost, and with his aiming bonus, I only need a 6 up on 3d6. I get a direct hit, so I spend the last focus to boost the damage. I roll dice -5, get a 13, so that is 8 damage to location 1. His left arm is disabled, so he loses his shield. Next, the Manhunter changes direction and advances 6 inches. The Winter Guard all stand up, a couple of them forfeiting their movement and a couple of them forfeiting their action. One of the Winter Guard takes a pot shot at the Flame Guard officer, hoping to finish him off. He needs a 10+ to hit him and fails. 4 of the Winter Guard are able to participate in a CRA against the Revenger. The attack originates from the leader, who has a ranged attack of 6. With the CRA bonus, she hits with anything but snake eyes. They are successful, and with the bonus to her blunderbuss, she hits with a power 16 versus the Revenger's armor 17, so dice -1. I rolled 10, so she does 9 damage to location 2. This puts me 1 hitbox away from taking out the Arc Node completely. Kovnik Joe moves 3 inches into rough terrain and takes a shot at the Revenger in a desperate attempt to finish off the Arc Node. He only needs a 6 to hit, but he misses. He then goes on to remind everyone how courageous and tough their forefathers are. pSorscha activates and casts Wind Rush, increasing her defense by 2 and moving her 6 inches. She then advances normally and spends her last 2 focus to cast Razor Wind at the Flame Guard officer. She needs a 9 up to hit, but she misses. Menoth, turn 3. pSeverius starts off his turn by letting both Defender's Ward and Eye of Menoth fall away. He only allocates 1 focus to the Revenger and keeps the rest for himself. So he starts off by activating the Revenger and using its 1 point of focus to run into position. Then pSeverius moves up 5 inches and spends 2 focus to cast Immolation through his Arc Node at pSorscha. He is within range of his Arc Node, and his Arc Node is within range and has line of sight to pSorscha. He boosts his attack roll, and with Wind Rush on pSorscha, he needs a 10 up to hit her. He rolls a 10 exactly. He boosts his damage, rolling dice -2 against her armor. He rolls a 16, so pSorscha takes 14 damage. pSeverius casts Immolation again and boosts again, and rolls a 10 again. He's out of focus and can't boost the damage, so he only rolls a 4, doing 2 damage to pSorscha, taking her down to 1 hit point. Next, the Vanquisher Heavy Jack moves up 4 inches and fires his Flame Belcher at my Winter Guard. With a ranged attack 5, he needs a 9 up to hit. He misses, and the template scatters 5 inches to the 6, hitting Kovnik Joe and 2 Widowmakers. The Widowmakers have an armor of 11, but Kovnik Joe has 14. We roll for Joe first, rolling dice -7. Kovnik Joe is just fine. The next roll is against my Widowmaker solo. At dice -4, he takes 4 damage. On the last Widowmaker, he needs a 5 to kill, and he does. Then, in an attempt to engage most of my Winter Guard and keep them from shooting next turn, the Flame Guard officer charges my Winter Guard officer. He does have a reach weapon, so he engages 4 of my Winter Guard. The Standard Bearer follows him, but he can't really engage anyone as he has no weapon. The officer needs an 8 up to hit, but he does not. The Repenter Jack activates and stands in front of pSeverius to try and block line of sight to him. And finally, the Paladin runs a full 12 inches to keep up with my Manhunter. Khador, turn 3. pSorscha replenishes 6 focus and holds on to all of it. She then wipes the blood off her chin and cracks her knuckles. Next, the Destroyer walks into combat with the Revenger. He needs a 6 to hit, but fails to do so. I really just needed him out of the way anyway. Now, pSorscha activates and casts Wind Rush to move up 6 inches. Then she uses her normal movement to advance an additional 6 inches. Now pSorscha has line of sight to every Menoth piece on the board. She casts her feet, making everything in her control range and in her line of sight stationary. She then uses her last 4 points of focus to cast Tempest on the Repenter Warjack. Being stationary, his defense is only 5. She hits him with anything but snake eyes. It is a direct hit, and since it is a 4-inch AoE, both the Jack and pSeverius are knocked down and suffer a power 12 hit. At armor 17, I rolled dice -5 against the Repenter, which I do 1 point of damage to location 1. Next, I roll dice -2 against pSeverius' armor 14. He takes 7 points of damage. Then pSorscha pulls out her hand cannon and shoots at him. She hits, but only does 2 points of damage. Now, to resolve the showdown that has been threatening to happen this whole game, the Manhunter is going to charge the now stationary Paladin of the Wall. She has a 9-inch charge and just barely makes it. She has 2 attacks and will auto-hit with both of them. He has armor 16, so she's rolling dice -5 on 3 dice. The first attack only does 2 points of damage, but on the second attack I roll 3 5s, which is more than enough to kill him. Next, the Widowmaker Marksman will take a shot at Severius. Normally the Repenter would block line of sight, but since he's knocked down, there is now a clear line to Severius. Severius is also knocked down and stationary for that matter, so anything but ones will hit him. So no problem there. However, at dice -2, I still managed to do only 1 damage to him. Now the Winter Guard are going to move up and around the Flame Guard to get close enough to shoot at Severius. Since the Flame Guard is stationary, he is no longer engaging them. The first Winter Guard takes a shot at Severius. He hits, and at dice -2 does 5 damage, putting him at 1 hit point. So the Winter Guard officer decides that she will be the one to put this Menoth Warcaster down and get the glory. She hits him with no problem, hitting him for only 1 point of damage, which is all she needs for another Khador victory. Well, I hope you all enjoyed my second Warmachine battle report. Thank you very much for all your support in my previous video. So do subscribe, and I will try to get these out more frequently for you guys. See you soon.